Okay, now we will start. Now see, in previous lecture we have discussed about uh, successive approximation method. Okay, successive approximation method. Now it is similar to NR method. In this method, it's like NR method. We have provided one initial case as a x1. Okay. In Insem and Ensem, if you have provided this initial case x1. Okay, so it is open method or you can say it is single point method. So we have provided initial case x1 and basic requirement. Okay, again we have provided one equation y is equal to f of x. Y is equal to f of x. Now by using this, your aim is to find the root of this equation. If you have to find the value of x2, value of x2. Okay, so for each and every method, we have two formulas. One formula is of formula of convergence condition. Convergence condition. Okay, and second one, the formula of iteration. Formula of iteration. Okay, now please can anyone tell me? Say convergence condition formula and iteration formula for bisection method. Already we have studied formula for bisection method. Yes, yes, please. Hello. Already I studied lecture. I will pick up the chart. Okay. Please tell me what is the convergence formula for bisection method. Hello. Hello. Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me what is the convergence condition formula for bisection method? I am asking about the first method. Already we have studied the bisection method. What is the condition for bisection method? Convergence of bisection method. Yes.
Y1 into Y2 less than 0.
So y1 part to y1 means y1 product should be less than 0. What is the iterative formula for bisection method? Iterative formula for bisection method is one. So it will start with x3 and then what is the iterative formula for bisection method? Very simple. Bisect has
X1
two
plus
solution
X2
cases.
One
upon
plus
2.
x cubed by 2.
So into bracket x1 plus x2. If you don't forget to put bracket, it is very important. X1 plus x2 by 2. Same can be converted condition formula for another method. Its formula is y1 into y double dash 1 divided by y dash 1 brackets then it should be less than 1. And iterative formula that is x2 is equal to x1 minus y1 upon y dash 1. In some books, you can find this formula that is f of x1 into df of x1 divided by df of x1 brackets here is less than 1. Okay, so it is same y1 into y dash 1 for use 81. Now, in successive approximation method, the converging condition formula, okay, we have this formula is from this given equation y is equal to f of x. So basic requirement, we have to arrange or you have to form this given equation in terms of g of x. So you have to calculate this equation in terms of x is equal to and assign whatever, assign this as a g of x. Okay, g of x. So what is the convergence condition? Again, assign this as a g of x. Okay, and again convergence condition. So again, see, we will see the formula. So x1 is initial case. So the formula will start with x2. So x2 is equal to g of x1, and derivative of this x2 it should be less than 1. It is what iterative formula. So you can write dx2 is equal to dg of x1. It should be less than 1. Okay, so if you satisfy this condition, then you can say this given initial case is correct. So in this lecture, we will see one problem related to successive approximation method and its flowchart. See flowchart. Very simple. If you know stepwise procedure, so this is the stepwise procedure. We have provided x1. Again, we have given y is equal to f of s. So arrange this equation in terms of g of s is equal to g of x. Find g of x1 as a unity formula. X2 is equal to g of x1 and take its derivative. Okay, take its derivative. Then you can have its conversion condition. See in flowchart. Okay, we'll explain. We will explain later. Now we will see one problem. Okay. Now write down one problem statement. Write down one simple problem statement. Write down. Okay. Are you ready? Hello, reply. Hello. Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now write down. Solve the following equation by using successive approximation method. Solve the following equation by using successive approximation method. Okay. That is y is equal to f of x is equal to y is equal to f of x is equal to x square minus x minus 1. X square minus x minus 1. Okay, x square minus x minus 1. Full stop. Take x1 is equal to 2. Take x1 is equal to 2. Okay, take x1 is equal to 2. Okay. Do 5 iterations. Again, n is given. Do 5 iterations. Okay, do 5 iterations. Okay, do 5 iterations. And now this is most important. And okay, fine. Now, okay. Now this is the given. Now see. Okay. Now, what is our first step? We have to check whether this provided x1 is correct or wrong. Okay, this is our aim. We have to check this provided x1 is correct or wrong. Now see. Okay, see. Now, what is the condition? We have to arrange this given equation in terms of. We have to arrange this given equation in terms of g of x is equal to what? Okay, or in terms of x is equal to what? Okay, in the problem statement they have provided one line. Okay, they have provided one line. Again, write down. See, solve this following equation by using successive approximation method. Y is equal to f of x is equal to x cube minus x minus 1. Okay, take x1 is equal to 2, n is equal to 5, and this is most important, and isolate, this is very important, and isolate x on left hand side. What is given? Isolate x on left hand side. Okay, what is given? Isolate x on left hand side. Okay. Isolate x on left hand side. Okay. What is this? Left hand side. So they have given separate the x from left hand side. So separate the x from this x square. We have to separate the x from the x square. It is given. This is the equation left hand side. We have this one. Separate the x from here x square. Okay. Now, first step, what is? We have to arrange this equation in terms of x is equal to what? So what is given? So we have given y is equal to x square minus x minus 1. Okay. So is equal to 0. So isolate x from left side is rearrange this x square is equal to 1 plus x. Okay. X square is equal to 1 plus x. Again, square. So you can x is equal to 1 plus x, or you can say 1 plus x raised to 1 upon 2. 1 plus x raised to 1 upon 2. Now see, we have arranged this equation in terms of x, and it is mentioned isolate x on left hand side. Which on left hand side we have x square. So separate this x from this x square. So it is given x is equal to root 1 plus x. Now you can say into bracket 1 plus x of x plus 1 raised to 1 upon 2. Okay, 1 upon 2. Now in order to check its convergent condition, okay, in order to check its convergent condition. Okay, again we are assigned this as a g of x. So we have g of x is equal to 1 plus x to the power 1 upon 2. Okay, now in order to check its convergent condition, we have to take its derivative. So convergent condition formula is g of x1. It should be less than 1. So we have g of x only. So take the derivative and then put value of x1. So tell me what is its derivative dg of x? What is its derivative? Anyone any idea how to find derivative here? Please tell me what is its derivative? This is important. Now tell me what is its derivative? Hello? Hello? Huh? What is its derivative? So it is x raised to n. Like the what is its derivative? Hello? How to find its derivative? Please reply. This is important. Please reply. Hello?
1 upon 2 into root of 1 plus x.
So it is 1 upon 2 into root 1 plus x. Okay, 1 plus x. Okay, now what is the formula? Checking convergent condition, dg of x1. Put x1, what is x1 is 2. Okay, put 2 and now find out its value. dg of x1 is equal to 1 divided by 2 into, sorry, root 1 plus 2. Now find out its answer. Tell me, 100% you can find it is less than 1, but you have to show here. Now tell me, 1 divided by 2 into root 1 plus root 3. What is its answer? You can 100% show less than 1. By observing this, you can say it should be points, 0 point something. Now tell me, what is its answer? It's calculated to 4 decimal places as we have given, and we don't have accuracy for say up to 4 decimal, 5 decimal places.
0.288.
0.28. Hello?
86.
86. So it should be less than 1. So last line you can say yes. So given there is correct. This is important. You have to write given case x1 is correct. Up to this we can get 2 marks. Now once you satisfy this condition as given first initial case is correct, then directly you can do first iteration. Okay, so what is the iterative formula for this successive approximation method? What is the iterative formula of this? See, score is given. So iterative formula will start with x2. Now, what is the iterative formula? You will do for first iteration. Okay, first iteration. Now tell me what is the iterative formula? What is the iterative formula? First, tell me what is the iterative formula?
x2 is equal to g of x1.
x2 is equal to g of x1. Okay, g of x1. Okay, so g of x1. What is g of x? What is g of x? It is 1 plus 3 1 upon 2. So we can write 1 plus 2 raised to 1 upon 2. Now tell me its value. 3, root 3. Root 3. What is its value? Root 3. First, do calculation. Okay, rule of calculation is very important. Okay, each activity step once you do calculation, say 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Please again cross check because of 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. It is having some different value. This is very important. Use of calculator. At each activity step, please cross check your answer. Now tell me, x2 is equal to what? Root 3. First, root 3. Anyone? Past, all are present or say, what is it? Three. Tell me about 3. Array. So is it
1.73 to 1.
1.73 to 1? Okay, so please calculate to 4 decimal. Okay, so it is 1.73 to 1. Now, what is next step? Similar to again, assign this S1 is equal to S2 is equal to 1.7321. So we have shown what iteration is needed. Correct? Now we take it in some tabular form. Okay, so right now iteration remaining iteration in tabular form. Okay, tabular form. Now it's the short. We can simply short to maximum over here provided accuracy. So your first column number of IDR. Second one is please second one. Second one, it is same for all three methods. Say x1, next one, next one, pay attention here, next one, x2. Okay, is accuracy given then for column should be accurate. Now, first iteration, what is x1? X1 is 1.7321. Okay, now see, G of, we know that x2 is equal to G of x1. Okay, x1. Okay, suppose, see here, we have this equation G of x is equal to 1, that means 1 plus x raised to 1 upon 2. Here, you can write this, that is again fine, no problem. So x2 is equal to, you can write 1 plus x1 raised to 1 upon 2, or we can say root. Okay, so you can easily solve. Okay, 1 plus 7 will be 1. Now here, sorry, for first equation, the value of x1, it is not 1.372. For first iteration, it is 2, and this is 1.7321. Now, for second iteration, what is x1? x1 is equal to x2 here. So it is 1.7321. Immediately calculate x2. First, what is x2?
1.6529.
It is root answer plus 1.
One 1.6529.
1.6529. Now go for iteration number 3. What is x1? This value 1.6529. Immediately find out. Root
1.6287.
1.62. It is not 876. We have not fixed calculate to 4 decimal. It is 1.6288. Go for fourth iteration. Go for fourth iteration.
1.6213.
1.6213. 1.6213. Iteration number 5. So last iteration. Iteration number 5. Tell me.
1.6191.
1.6191. 1.6191. So this will be your final answer. So last line, what you can write after fifth iteration, the root of equation is 1.6191. Okay. If you have provided accuracy, then you can add one more column. Accuracy. Accuracy is mod of x1 minus x2, or we can say mod of x2 minus x1. So always make it different. And if you find the accuracy, it is say less than or equal to given accuracy, then we can stop. So any doubt up to this? So in this problem statement is clearly mentioned. Isolate x on left side means on this equation left side we have x square. So separate this x from this square. Okay, this is very important. Separate the x from this x square. Any doubt in this problem? If you have, please ask no any problem. Yes, tell me if you have any doubt in this problem. Okay, hello, reply fast. Any doubt? Hello? Please reply.
No,
So, you understand all three methods? Yes? All three methods? Correct? Hello? 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 Reply. You understand all three methods?
Yes, sir.
So we have studied three
Yes,
methods.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Again, we have studied two flowcharts. Already
Yes,
we
sir.
have studied two flowcharts. One it is flowchart of dissection method, and next one is flowchart of Newton-Raphson method. Okay, so dissection method is lengthiest. Now there is another method. Okay, it is very say compared to dissection, it is small. Now last one successive, it is very small than dissection method. See, okay. We'll discuss first. Initially, we will go step by step. Now, see, dissection method. Okay, we are using three nodes. One is while. Okay, while. Next one is for, and next one is if else condition. Okay, if else condition. Okay, for dissection. Okay, now for NR, while two loops while and for. And for successive approximation method again while and for. Okay, now you must know if in bisection method, okay, bisection method, NR method, and successive approximation method. In all three, why? So this one loop it is used to check convergence condition. It is important. Okay, convergence condition. Now next, for the next step for all three methods. For it is for iteration. Okay, it is for iteration. And third loop is not required for if else condition, not required for NR, not required for successive approximation method. And in bisection we have given two cases, NR only one case. NR this successive we have provided only one case. So if else condition is required to check the sign of Y3. Okay, sign of Y3. So it is not required in this case NR method and successive approximation method. So here again we are in successive approximation method. We are using two loops. One is while, one is for. Okay. Now, any idea? Okay. Again, you have directly question for this flowchart. You cannot have given value like x1, like and say like f of x1 f of x and particular equation. Now see, is flowchart and program, these two must be worker. It will not differ problem to problem statement. Be careful, this is very important. So, pattern question. Okay. Right. A flowchart, then for 6 marks. Write the flowchart on successive approximation method. Okay. Write the flowchart for successive approximation method. This is very important. Successive approximation method. Now you must know what will be the requirement for writing this flowchart for successive approximation method. So all three methods, we have given one equation. One is equal to f of x. As our aim is to solve this equation. Our aim is to find the root means x. Now, say into bracket, write down iteration base. Write down iteration base. Okay, it means if we have n, so all three methods we have given y is equal to f of x. So basically we must have n, and you must know how many initial cases are required for this successive approximation method. So we require one, say x1. So we must know these three. Okay, we must know these three. Okay, so you have question like this. You must know this is the requirement for writing flowchart and program. Okay, you don't have these values n is equal to 10, 4, 5, 6, x is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it is universal, it is not particular for problems. Now for successive approximation method, we have given 1 is equal to f of x, but we don't require this. We require g of x. So assign this equation in terms of g of x. So there is again one more requirement. We require g of x. Okay, we require g of x. Okay, again, yes, we have defined this equation as a g of x. Now again we require to check conversion condition. We require its derivative, first derivative. So we cannot write g dash of x. Is it big? Because we cannot use that something like that. So instead of this, what you can write any idea? It is enough here. How you can write g dash of x? Tell me. Hello? G dash is first derivative. How you can write it? Pattern or the flowchart tell me. We cannot use dash time. Hello? Vidya? So it is g dash of x. How you can write? How you
DGX.
can dgx, dgx. So we require first derivative. So similarly, if we require g dash, double dash x, we can write dg of x. Okay. So what is the conversion condition formula? dg of x to 1. It should be less than 1. Okay. And iterative formula is x2 is equal to g of x1. Remember, x2 is equal to g of x1. So this y is input, n is input, x1 is input. Again, g of x is input, and dg of x is input. So for this one, now we start the flowchart. Say start is very short. Start. Okay, it is the oval shape. Remember. Now next. Input in parallelogram, we can write define what f of x and f of x, comma g of x. Actually, it is here y is equal to f of x, y is equal to g of x, y is equal to dg of x. Or simply you can write f of x, g of x, comma dg of x. Okay, dg of x, comma again read what n and x1, n and x1. Okay, n and x1. Okay, fine. Any doubt about this? What will be the input for this program or for this method? Successive approximation method. We have avoided this, but we require to define this equation in terms of g of x. G of x. So if you write only y is equal to f of x here, if you don't write g of x and d of x, but the requirement of yesterday's approximation method, we have to identify the equation g of x. Okay, but that means separate this equation, separate the f of x from f of x and assign that is equal to g of x. We have to separate it and we have to put here. Okay. So this project of that program it will not find g of x automatically or directly. We have to give that equation or expression in actual program. Once you define this, okay, once you write f of x, g of x, dg of x, read n and x1. Now, what next? Tell me, what next? After defining this, we are directly going to check conversion condition. Okay, this is the conversion condition. Okay, so directly you can put here I do. Okay, why? We don't know whether this expression is correct or wrong. In actual problem statement, in theory or exam exam, you have provided x1. So that person confident that the value of x1 is correct. But in flowchart program, okay, you cannot have this value. You have to guess. You can start with 0, 1, 2, 3. So why now? Okay, why? So it is again in mod actually. It is in mod. So for this modulus of mod, what you can write here? Tell me what you can write here. Hello. Why? Check your flowchart of NR first. Quick. Tell me. Hello. Are you there?
Absolute ABS.
So in short, while ABS mod, while mod of into bracket, what write on this as it is d of x1 is greater than 1. Exactly like opposite. Greater than. If it fails means we have to give new value of x1. Okay, now while mod, okay, this mod, if you have found each of x1 is greater than 1, always writing exactly opposite to all three methods. If f is greater than 1, our requirement should be less than 1. Now, if it is greater than 1 means that means what? This x1 is not correct. Okay, this x1 is wrong. Okay, that means this x1 is wrong. So you can put down. So s s this variable is greater than 1 means what? This x1 is wrong. So in this case, you have to take new value of x1. So in x1, so this input, so in parallelogram, you can write if x1 again. Okay, x1 again. Now it is not important to calculation because we have okay, so it is in this parallelogram. Now from here again supplied to this value. Now see this x1 and this x1 these two values are different. Remember, so this x1 is if this value is greater than 1, that means it is wrong. So it is greater than 1 is it is greater than 1, that is wrong. So you can say again x1 again. If you take x1 0 here, if it fails satisfy the condition, then you can have again display on your program that is insert the new value of x1. Okay, so it should be say 1. Then again, if you enter this one, again it will go up and it will check again here. That means mod of dg of 1. Again, if you find this is greater than 1, again it goes down and you have to enter new value say 2. Again it will go up. If it again wrong, then you have to take new value of x1 as a 3. And now, if you find this value is less than 1, that means no, it is not greater than 1, that means it should be less than 1, then no, and it will directly go to perform iteration. Okay, so these arrows are important. It will directly go to perform the number of iteration. Now, as in this while loop, let's consider it has checked this conversion condition as x1 we don't. Now we move towards iteration. So for iteration, which loop? Iteration means it is a repeated task. So repeated task we have this for loop. For all of you know this pattern for I is equal to 1, colon 1, colon and say it is colon, not semicolon. Okay, any idea how you can explain this pattern for loop? As anyone please? For I is equal to 1. So this I is equal to 1 denotes what? This first one means what and this n means what? Okay. Now tell me what is for I is equal to 1. So what is the meaning of this one? For I is equal to 1 means what? Yes, anyone? So we have 105 students. So anyone tell me? So yes, I is equal to 1 means we have to perform first iteration, then I is equal to 2 second iteration. Now tell me what about this 1? Yes, now this is important. In practical exam, external will ask you this question. Yes, if you have written in this flowchart program, yes, you have written here, then 100% definitely or she will ask this question. Explain this loop, how it repeats. Tell me. Hello? Already yesterday or we have I have told you about this because I is equal to 1 colon n. Yes, tell me. In again. Hello? Anyone is there? Tell me.
1.
So this middle one indicates increment by 1. See, why you have not written 2? The number of equations is sequentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this each case we require increment by 1. Increment by 1. Increment by 1. So we have written, so I have written here as a 1. And what is this? And what is this? And it is given. It means what? Number of iteration. Now again, yes, all of you know this. I is equal to 1 means iteration number 1. 1 indicates increment by 1, and n indicates number of iteration. Now how it will again? How you can justify? Okay, how you can again explain this? See, for I is equal to 1, let's you can take x equal to say 2. X is equal to 2. For I is equal to 1, so this loop will check the value of I up to n. So n is equal to 2. So this value of in order to perform the iteration, listen carefully. In order to perform the iteration 1 and 2, this value of I it will check the value. This for loop will check the value of I up to n. up to n means in order to perform the iteration, the value of I always it should be less than or equal to 2. Less than or equal to 2. So this I it should be less than or equal to 2. If you find it is greater than greater than 2, then it will exceed these loops. Okay, now when I is equal to 1, so if 1 is less than 1 is less than 2, so go down and do your first iteration. Once it complete first iteration, again it goes up. Again, in that case, here 1 will increment by 1, I becomes 2. So 2 is less than or equal to n, it is equal to. So this 2 is equal to 2. Again, as it will go down, it upon equation number 2, again it will go up, I becomes 3. So 3 is greater than 2, then exit and you can now print. Okay, now directly you can put this very simple program. So you can write for I is equal to 1 colon n. Okay, now see. Okay. For doing iteration number 1, you have to perform first iteration, you can write here. Instead of writing complete here, you can say y and that is one. S. If S means what? The first iteration. So what is the iterative formula for successive approximation method? S. Already we have there. What is the iterative formula for successive approximation method? Tell me. Tell me first. What is the iterative formula for successive approximation method? If you know this formula, then you can write the correct.
x2 is equal to g of x1.
So the formula is x2 is equal to g of x1. Okay, g of x1. And what is last again? Tell me what is last? This is very important for two cases. NR successive. It is not important to calculate x3. What is last? Again, you have to write what? Tell me. Hello? Again, here problem, we are x2 is equal to x1 is equal to x3. You can write here x1 is equal to x2. Now see, how this see. You can say, sir, we can x is equal to x1. Now see, x2 is equal to g of x1. Okay, so we can now see here x2 is equal to x. So this old value is equal to new value. Okay, so this old value of x1 is equal to new value of x1. New value is what? This value. Okay, so while performing next iteration, our value of x1 it should be x2. That means we must have new value of this x1. Okay, now from here it will go up to perform iteration number 2. When value of I exceeds n, it will exist and you can have last you can have print x2 in this parallelogram. And what is last? What is last? Cannot write here. Say put your end in overshare. Are you getting this? Are you getting this step by step? This one, and this one. It is having only two rows white. Check here, white and on. Okay. Please try to understand this grouping, how it will rotate, how it will rotate. Again here, how it will perform iteration 1, iteration 2. So it is like a cycle. Okay. So it is like this. Again, here, when it will exit, when value of I exit, value of n. Now up to this, any doubt, please ask. Important. Very important. Yes? Yes? Any doubt? Hello?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. So now, okay, again cross check whether it is correct or wrong. Is it correct? Okay. Now see. So in this method or another method, you must know how to find first derivative and second derivative. If you fail to find first and second derivative, then you cannot solve this problem. This is the basic requirement. You must know how to find out y dash and how to find out y double dash. Okay, y double dash. So this is for say up to this we have finished half portion of our first chapter. So name of first chapter is what? Hello. Name of your first chapter is roots of equation and errors approximation. Roots of equation and errors approximation. Okay. Now we will start again. Say we have 15 minutes. We will cover some part of error. Again, say we have three types of errors. Right on this errors. Okay, errors. Okay, errors. This is important. Already you have studied this. What is the error? Okay, now. Okay, now. You there? All. This is the again second part of our first chapter. Error means what? Okay. Any idea what is error? What is error? Any idea? Hello? What is error? Hello? Any idea what is error? In your words, you can tell me what is meant by error.
Difference between obtained value and true value.
Obtained value and true value. Okay, fine. Fine. If it is in mod, they can have positive error. If it is in, say, you cannot apply mod, then you can have negative value. So error always you have to apply mod. Okay, modulus. Now see error. You give one example. Okay, all of you rounding is test. There are three rounding things. It will explain. Again, it is one type of error, rounding of error. Okay, now see. Rounding of error. Okay, rounding of error. Okay, now see. If you have one question, okay, say we can say obtain value and given value. Okay, obtain value and given or say true value. Okay, now say true value. True value. Okay, true value. Let's consider true value given as a 3.146. Okay, 146. It is given true value. And we have asked the question. Okay, round of the number, given number, the number up to 2 decimal places. Okay, 2 decimal places. Now we know that true value is, let's consider x. So x is the true value. Given x is equal to 3.146. And you have asked one question, round up this number up to 2 decimal places. Now tell me, after rounding up to 2 decimal places, then you have to think about this left side value, the number 3. You have to start with this 1. This is first place, this is second place, this is third place. You have to ask for rounded the number of 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's consider after rounding, you can have the x dash or the x dash. It is not derivative. X dash is equal to 3. Okay, 3.1. Okay, first one is as it is. Now check this. It is second decimal place is 4, but while rounding any number or while rounding down to 1 to 3 decimal places, always check the number of next decimal place. Here it is asked to round up this number up to 2 decimal places. Now check third decimal value of third decimal place. So it is 6. So it is what? Greater than 5. Okay, greater than 5. If it is greater than 5, then add 1 in second decimal place. You can write here 3.15. Correct? 3.15. So this is what our obtained value after rounding number to decimal places. X dash is equal to 3.15, and this is what true value. So what is error? So error is what? True value. Okay, true value minus. So you can say approximate value. True value minus approximate value. So it is mod. So you can say error is equal to x minus x dash. Or this error is also called as the absolute error. Okay, absolute error is equal to x minus x dash. Absolute error is equal to x minus x dash. Now, this is one rule. 3.14 if next decimal place number is greater than 5, then you can add 1. If you find it is it is 4, then you tell me what is what is x. Check next decimal place it is 4, it is less than 5, then keep as it is, don't subtract. So it is 3.14. Okay, 3.14. Okay, I want to understand these rules. These are very important. If you have first round up this number to 2 decimal places, then check the third decimal place number whether it is greater than 5, then add 1 in second decimal place. If it is less than 5, then keep as it is. Okay, all of you understand these two rules? Hello, reply fast.
Yes,
All of you understand? Now, if you find the third decimal place is exactly 5, correct? Exactly 5 means you can have x is equal to 3.145. Very important. 3.145. Okay. Then now see. Then yes. What is that? Round up to 2 decimal places. So this is 1, 2, 3. Okay. So your focus should be on this number. So it is 4. Okay, it is 4. So what is the rounding rule? We have to check always check the number for next decimal place. So next decimal place is 5. Next decimal place is 5. So 5 is not less than, not greater than, it is what equal to 5. So 5 is equal to 5. So in this case, we have one rule. We have to check this previous decimal number whether it is odd or even. Now tell me 4 is odd or even. So it is even. If it is second decimal place, if it is even, then keep as it is. So your x dash should be 3.14 only. 3.14 only. And now if you have x is equal to 3.115, 3.115, in this case, say second decimal place, third decimal place is 5, but previous this number is what it is odd, then you can add 1. So x dash should be 3.12. All of you understand this? It is a mathematical rule for rounding the number. If next decimal place is less than 5, keep as it is. If next decimal place is greater than 5, add 1 in second decimal place. See, add 1 in second decimal place. Don't only remember this. Add in second decimal place. If it is, now see, if third next decimal number, this third if number from third decimal place is equal to 5. Equal to 5. Okay. Then check in details one. If it is odd, then add 1 in second decimal place. If it is even, keep as it is. Now see, if x is equal to 3.155. Okay. Now tell me, after rounding out to 2 decimal places, what will be the value of x dash? Please reply fast. What will be the value? Tell me.
116.
3.16. 3.10. Now, if you have number x is equal to 3.105, what will be the x dash? After rounding up to second decimal place, what will be your answer? X dash is equal to, tell me. So 0 is 1. 0 is 1. So it is 3.100. 3.100. Now see, while writing approximate value, okay, approximate value, if you are say this one, it is with 3 decimal places, so always try to write approximate values or complete values up to again 3 decimal places. Okay, now my question is, Now see, one if you have x is equal to 1.12367 Right? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. And what is mass? Round up this given number up to 3 decimal places. Now tell me what will be your answer after counting this number 3 decimal places. Tell me what will be your answer? What is 1.121?
4.
4. What next? It is 6, 7, 8.
0.
So put here 0, 0, 0. This is very important. This is very important. Or sometimes you can write 1.12467. Okay, so it is completely wrong. So now from the 4 to 3 decimal places up to right on 3 and remaining decimal places keep as a 0. So this is again what type of error? Rounding error. So you can say rounding of error. Okay, so write down definition of error, or you can say it is absolute error. Write down error is equal to, write down error is equal to, write down it is equal to true value, okay, true value and approximate value, not absolute, approximate value. Okay, approximate value. This is important. True value minus approximate value. It is odd. Okay, now say let's consider x with the true value, x dash with the approximate value. Then we can say it is x minus x dash. X minus x dash. Okay. Now next. Again we have studied. Again, next slide down. Types of error. Types of error. Okay, types of error. Actually, there are 6 types of error. You can have question. Define the following errors. Okay, just write down types of error, then we will stop here. Types of error. So first error, write down rounding. We have studied this. Rounding of error. Rounding of error. So please remember those 3 rules, rounding rules. Second error, right now, inherent error, R and H T, R E and T, inherent error. Okay, now see, what is meant by inherent error? Right? What is meant by inherent error? Okay, now see, important. Hello, you there? Yes, reply. We have last 1 or 2 minutes. You there? Hello? Now see, inherent error, simple. See, you have performed a transaction experiment in first semester, might be you have not performed physically. That to find the value constant, that is Steffen-Boltzmann constant. Okay, Steffen-Boltzmann constant. And we have its number as a 5.67 into 10 raised to minus 8. What is its unit? Watt per meter square, Kelvin raised to 4. Okay, Kelvin raised to 4. Now see, we know its true value. Correct? We know its true value. But after performing the practical, typically, we have this answer as a, say, 4.37 into 10 raised to minus 8 watt per meter square, Kelvin raised to 4. Correct? Kelvin raised to 4. Or you can have this answer for one that. Let's say 3.37 into 10 raised to minus 8. So it differs. So the inherent error means what? The errors which are already present in problem statement. See, this statement. Inherent error, the errors which are already present in problem statement, those errors are called as inherent error. So it is experimental error. Now see, let's example. If we have solved 7 to 8 problems of these three methods. So in every method, you can find solve up to n is equal to 6 or n is equal to 4. Correct? Let's consider the exact root of equation say in 2.167. And after performing 6 iteration, if you find x root x3 is equal to 2.157. Okay, so this is what it is true value and this is what approximate value. So how you can see inherent error? So in problem statement they have given only 6 iterations. So this is error. So we can say how the error which are already present in problem statement. Last one in program already present in problem statement. Before solution, this is very important. If you have to write before then, okay, you can use your mark. This is very important. Before solution, you can say this inherent error. Or you can say it is calculator. Okay, calculator again this error already calculated. How we are fixing calcium to decimal places so that exact answer it is having 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decimal places. But we have what fix your calcium to 4 decimal places. So this is error. So this error is not inherent error. The errors which are already present in problem statement, these errors are called as an inherent error. Okay, so we are spending time. So 10, 11, 12. Now we will see next error. Okay, in next lecture. Do you understand this? Hello. Then how you understand this or that is what is the flowchart for successive approximation method and rounding of rules and inherent rules. Sorry, rounding of error and inherent error. Is it? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now we will finish here. Okay, you can just a minute. Okay, now you can leave the meeting. Okay, fine.